All right, so I'm going to ask you real quickly. We're going to get right into this thing. Let's close our eyes, take a deep breath, relax your shoulders. As you inhale lots of light, lots of love. And as you exhale, share that light and love forward. As you inhale deeper, brighter, more love. As you exhale, share that light and love forward. One more deep breath, relaxing the shoulders, inhaling, filling with light and love, and then share it forward. Open your eyes. That was not a spiritual exercise. That's me getting your light and love and me giving you my nerves. So I was just kind of trying to get rid of my nerves while I'm absorbing your light and love. I'm just honored. I'm honored to be able to speak here. I'm honored to be in front of you, and I just want to thank you and give you guys a big round of applause for showing up and coming out to Next Level You, because so many of you traveled from so many far places. You know, mis amigas de Mexico, love all of you so much. My ladies and guys from Canada, I love you all so deeply. Yeah. You know, Jordan talked last night about the 3 M's, your master, your mission, and your mate, and I've been blessed with such an amazing mate. My wife is from Canada, and I'm just such a lucky guy. Although they're at the pool swimming. They got here 2 hours ago, and they're at a different hotel, but they didn't want to come see me speak. They'd rather swim at the pool. I get the kids. Darn kids. I should take the slide off of them. So real quickly, we're going to talk about health and happiness, and I feel honored to talk about this subject because it's really, really, really close to home. A long time ago, I suffered from a lot of anger, depression, and even some weight issues. Feel like, you suffered with weight? Yes, I was a heavy, heavy dude for a while. Not super heavy, but I definitely struggled. And I had this transformation in my life that when I got through that transformation, I woke up and had this whole new sense of reality, understanding of life. And what I noticed was that we are such an unhealthy and unhappy society. Too many people are struggling with physical, mental, spiritual, emotional health. And it just really dawned that this is my mission, this is my calling, this is what I want to work on. So real quickly, I want you to go to, if you have your phones, go to Instagram. On Vitality by Sergio, there's a poll there. And I would like to see if we could show it later at the end. But it's basically, sorry, go back here. I want you to really write down, what do you need more work with? Do you need work on your health, or do you need work on happiness? And I want to kind of get a sense of where we are in society today. And the one thing I love is when we hear Kevin Guest talk about health and happiness, they're so intertwined, and I'll show that to you today, of how they're really interconnected, how mind, body, and spirit is really all one. You've got to work on all three, or you're not really working on them. So today we're going to talk about a couple of different things. Why are we struggling with health and happiness? We're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to go into the journey and the evolution of health and fitness. Kind of experience how did we get to where we are today with our beliefs, our perceptions, our understanding of health and fitness. I want to share 4 keys to optimal health. And then 4 keys to optimal fitness, or optimal happiness, sorry. And then we'll give you a little experience of both of those. Does that sound good? All right. So I always start my presentations honoring my family, because without them, I really couldn't do what I do. I have so much love and support from my wife. My kids just give me so much inspiration to be a good role model, to help the world, to serve the world, and to lead them through a positive inspiration of health and vitality. And I also have a picture of my parents up there, because my parents I need to give them both red keys. Those 2 people have sacrificed so much to give my brothers and sisters and us just so much without ever having money. My dad never made more than $25,000 a year, ever, and gave us everything we ever needed. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. I'm going to try to go through this one fast because, I can start rambling, and I got 63 minutes left. I'm dyslexic. So I was born in Colombia in South America. I moved here my parents moved us when I was a baby, as an infant. And my parents moved with like 5, 6, 7 couples, and all of them had between 2 and 6 kids, and Next thing you know, we all went to Chicago, and we're like 25 Colombians, little kid Colombians, and we never went on vacation, any of us, except for when they throw us into 2 station wagons to take us to a campsite and pitch a tent, and we'd go camping. And then one uncle would give $1 to whoever won the running race. No matter what age you were, you don't get any handicaps, just whoever wins. So the older cousin always won, and we always got upset. And my dad was a waiter, a busboy, a bartender, tried to work up the ranks, and then open up a restaurant. He got taken advantage of by a business partner, robbed him of everything. So we left Chicago, we moved to the Florida Keys. A bunch of Colombian families, couples, kids, let's all move them over to the Keys. So we all moved to the Florida Keys. And Sandy, are you here? Where's Sandy? Come on, stand up for a second, Sandy. This woman, so she's like my sister, my cousin. So her parents moved with our parents from Colombia to Chicago, Chicago to the Florida Keys. She was one of the little Colombians in the station wagon once in a while. Her parents found out that we don't like this Florida Keys stuff. They moved back to Chicago. But when you hear of Nick yesterday and Kevin Guest talking about character and perseverance and overcoming things, can we give her a big round of applause? Because this woman, you've changed my life, Sandy, and she's held me with open doors. When I moved back to Chicago, and when I was 22 years old, I was part of her family. I was at her house for Christmas every day with her and her husband and kids and her sister and her mom and dad and the drunk priest who would drink shots of agua ardiente before he'd do midnight mass. It's the truth, but so my parents in Miami, we moved from the Florida Keys. My dad started a business there after working for a while. He got screwed over by another business partner, moved to Miami, tried to start again, got screwed over again. 3 times the man was taken advantage of in business because he trusted people and loved people and never asked for a contract. If you ever go in business, you got to get a contract. So I saw my dad fall into a depression, and we never had money, so my dad and mom really worked hard at putting us in good neighborhoods, safe neighborhoods. So we went to public school, the same place where Nick and Fernanda went to public school, Miami Palmetto High School. Andre Gordon went to school there. Jeff Bezos went to school there. So we went to a really nice school, and it's public, but really smart, wealthy people lived around there. We had definitely the smallest house on the block, but it was cool. It was nice. And when everybody turned 16, some people at 15 got Porsches, Corvettes, Supras, all the other cool fancy cars. My brother's a year older than I am. He got a Mustang LX, not the fanciest one, but it was brand new, right? Everybody wanted the 5.0 GT. They wanted the convertible. My brother got the basic Mustang LX at 16 years old. He got a brand new car. So a year later, I'm turning 16. I'm riding down the Carson. This is 1986 or 87. So I wrote Toyota Supra. I like that Buick Grand National, Ringo Grand National. I like the Honda CRX, not a bad car. Mazda RX-7, I like that. My mom goes, "What are you doing?" Writing a list. I'm turning 16 next month. My mom peed her pants and laughed for 3 days straight, calling every relative, every friend to make fun of me for writing a list of cars, thinking I'm going to get a brand new car at 16 years old. True story. And then she says, "What is your brother's car, an Indy car? There's only 1 seat? You get in the passenger side or the back side, but you're riding with your brother to school and back, and that's the way it's going to be." So I found out that we had a family friend who actually gifted that car to my parents because they couldn't afford it. Now, he's a Colombian family friend in the business, but that's my parents were waiters and bartenders, and we weren't in the business, but that's how we got my first car in our family. So I started battle with a lot of depression, lots of anger, and I moved out of my house. I wanted to get away and try to start a different life, and I moved to California. I was designing watches. I'm an artist, and promising to take care of my parents' financial issues. I moved to LA. I didn't like it. I met people there, and they're like, "Hey, what do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I design watches." "I've never heard of you." I'm like, "I'm 19 years old designing watches. I didn't expect you to hear of me," but that's kind of the vibe I got for so long. So I stayed in LA for like a year and a half, moved back to Chicago. I got screwed over in business. I opened up a Cuban restaurant, and not purposely taken advantage of, but something happened where I lost the business, and somebody else was in another business trying to partner with me in the restaurant, and we lost the restaurant. So I went back to college. And at this point, I realized that I'm out of shape, and I'd always played sports, and I've always worked. I never had not had a job since I was 9 years old. I started working at 9 years old, never not worked. And I couldn't afford college. I saw my parents file for bankruptcy, so I didn't want student debt. So I'd work 2 jobs and then go to school for 2 classes at a time. And I'm trying to make my way through this, and I'm struggling to even take care of myself, and I'm managing bands, doing artwork for musicians in Chicago. I love live music. I can go to music every day of my life. And a guy goes, one of the singers in the band goes, hey, I want to work out. So I went to work out with him, and he's like, wow, you really know what you're doing. You should get paid for this. So a little light bulb went out. And I said, I'm going to work out for 3 months. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to smoke, which is what I was doing in my 20s. Not cigarettes. And so I'm going to stay real sober and straight, and I'm going to work really hard, and I'm going to work out for 3 months. And if I do that, I'm going to buy myself a motorcycle. And I did it. And I was so excited to get my motorcycle, but you know what I realized was way bigger than the motorcycle? All my anger, my depression was gone. So all of a sudden, another light bulb went off. I was studying fine arts. I wanted to be an artist. And being a personal trainer was just to help pay for college at that point. And I said, I'm going to transfer over to psychology because I love this correlation between the physical and the mental health. So I really started finding a way to combine those. I didn't graduate until I was 31 years old. And my professor and mentor at the time, I was so excited to just jump into graduate school. I'm like, I'm 31. I just finished my bachelor's. I got 3 bachelors, psychology, fine arts, and theology. I wanted to be a spiritual art therapist and a personal trainer. I don't know how they all combine, but somehow they do. And he says, Sergio, you're doing so well in your career already. You've been 5 years as a personal trainer. Why don't you put both feet in and see what happens? And through this experience, my career has kind of been pretty nice. Thanks to USANA, I've got to do some stuff with some nice pro athletes and flip a coin for Serena Williams' match. I've got to work with some professional baseball players, professional basketball players, developing nutrition programs, corrective exercise programs for them. I've been on magazines. I was the NBC contributor for NBC in Chicago. I've been on the Today Show several times. What else did I do? Oh, I trained 6,000 kids at Washington Redskins Stadium with a digital PE program that was actually videotaped and shown around the world. That was for NFL Play 60. I got to work for the Obama administration as the director of the President's Council on Fitness, Sports, and Nutrition. I got to be the finalist on the Dr. Oz show, which was an amazing experience as well. That's pretty big coverage. And then I get to be on stage with you guys. So I feel very, 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 very blessed, So I say this not because I'm trying to show off my career. I'm just saying this because whatever you're going through, whether it's health issues, emotional issues, depression, anger, you can lift it. I promise you can lift it and get through it. And the other cool thing is this USANA family that I've gotten. I've been so blessed with this, all of you. You guys are truly family and friends forever. So why are we unhappy and why are we unhealthy? We got to look at this stuff, right? We got to start understanding why. We have so much information, so many resources available to us, yet we struggle with obesity. And the sad thing that I see right now is that there's this whole movement to be comfortable in our bodies, whatever shape we're in. And I get it, but the fact is we've done so much research on it. One, if you're obese, you're at much higher risk of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, dementia. You're taking off 15 to 20 years of your life, but you're also not fully happy. And not that anybody's 100% happy all the time, but you're hiding under something. We've looked at research and interviewed thousands, and not me personally, but I've looked at research. I've been blessed. My business partner has 3 PhDs, one from Chicago, one from Harvard, and one from Stanford. 2 in one psychology, organizational behavior, and divinity. So we have access to these 3 universities to get lots of research, and we've dug into this for the last 4 years. Have you ever heard of this sickness, the overfit sickness? There are people that have so much oxidative stress, so much inflammation in their bodies, yet they got a 6-pack abs and the best arms and shoulders you've ever seen. There's an overfit sickness going on right now. And I'll argue to say that a lot of those people that spend so much time so consumed with their physique and their body fat percentage and how hard they can push themselves and how much they can compete in whatever fitness thing their challenge are doing are also compensating for something holistically, spiritually, something else might be missing. It's not everyone. I'm just saying these are things that we're finding a lot more of than we've ever seen in a long time. Skinny fat. You heard of that new epidemic? Right? To me, in my gym in Chicago that I had, we were on the ground floor of a 10-story loft building, had loft offices. And it was mostly computer programming companies. And you'd see them in droves, like 5 of them, walking like this, real skinny. They'd come back with 4 lattes back to the office 2 or 3 times a day. And then I'd go up to their office because I started doing corporate wellness for them, and they have piles and piles of cases of Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper. So I'm like, why do you need lattes if you're drinking Mountain Dew all day? And they think they're okay because they're thin, but they have no core strength. Their body's highly acidic. They're pre-diabetic. High risk for cancer, high risk for dementia, over-caffeinated. You've heard of the term inflammation. They don't look inflamed, but they are deeply inflamed on the inside. And there's lots of studies on that as well. And then there's social media. We spend way too much time on social media. We're destroying our posture physically, and we're destroying our head mentally and our heart spiritually. We have to know what social media is really about and what it's for. My wife is one of them. She suffers and battles depression as well. And sometimes she catches herself. When she's on social media, she sees herself more depressed. 95% of my time is on social media is trying to share a message. I don't know what half of you guys are doing on social media. I don't know. I'll go to my first 3 or 4 things and like, and if I genuinely like something, I'll cut a comment. But I just don't spend that kind of time trying to see what else is going on in the world. You know, if you want to send me a private message and I'll come look at your stuff, I love, to connect that way. But I don't spend time on social media looking at what's going on in the world. So again, why do we think we're so unhealthy and unhappy? You guys, nobody's smiling. Is this a fun, happy presentation? I used to have darker, sadder ones. Some of my presentations, I'm like, I'm just the most depressing presenter on the planet. So these are the most searched terms when it comes to health and fitness on Google. Diet, body fat, exercise, muscle, body image, six-packs, HIIT, keto, paleo, fat burn, weight loss. When you look at those, like, wow, we're getting healthy. If people are searching this, we must be a super healthy society. Because that could be the impression for some people, right? The problem is that they're all superficial. Not one of those things will sustain long-term health and happiness. Not one of them. It's just way too much on the surface. We got to start looking at a different percentage or different approach to this. None of these are congruent. If you spend some time digging deep of what you really want out of life, those things just aren't congruent with who we are. What's going on? I'm going backwards, sorry. I didn't give you enough of my nerves. I'm pressing the wrong button, you see? All right, they're not congruent with our core values. So you have to understand, what is it that you truly want? Implants in your butt? Do you want to show your butt off? Do you really need the biggest biceps in the team? Or in the neighborhood or your company? I don't know. Those things that we're sharing with you also only address a few areas. We are holistic beings. We're dynamic. We have so much more to us than our physical health, than exercise and diet. A lot of that stuff is extracted from research as a small portion of research and then shared as this big method to saving you and getting you healthy and fit. And I'll share with you some examples of that a little bit later on. And then they're also lacking in understanding of true motivation in human behavior. None of these things truly understand what motivates us and what's human behavior change. Because you could sit there and look at somebody's six-pack abs picture forever and say that you're going to get it, but it's not motivating enough. It's not going to hold you to it. So how did we get here? How did we get to this impression and this belief and this kind of understanding of what health and fitness is? And now let's have fun and put a little smiles on your face and take you through a journey of the 1950s. So the 1950s is when our government, which is where I worked for the President's Council on Fitness, Sports, and Nutrition, said, hey, we have an issue here. People are putting some weight on. World War II's over, we're moving to the suburbs, we're eating a lot of good foods, and we started putting some weight on, so we got to start paying attention to our health. So let's start making health a mission. Let's get 15 minutes of vigorous exercise for our kids, and we're going to get healthier and healthier each generation. So the response was, let's create something that's going to shake our butt and our waist, and we could chat while we lose some weight. We don't want to work yet. Come on. Then came the hula hoop, which I will argue is probably one of the best exercise pieces of equipment on the planet. But it's too silly, as most people won't do it, right? Then you got Jack LaLanne pulling cars around in Speedos with a rope with his models in the car. So Jack LaLanne started showing, hey, this is fitness. A little sexist, but hey, it's fitness, right? So we got to move to the 1960s. Thank God I wasn't born then, because not for Arnold Schwarzenegger, for the Doors and Led Zeppelin days. That's what I would have been, in the Beatles. So Arnold Schwarzenegger saw what Jack Lang was doing. He goes, I'm going to be bigger. I'm going to be larger than you, right? Not only am I going to work out in the gym, I'm going to go to the beach and hang my friends upside down with girls around us working out. But this is the image, right? This is what we're getting, this being told to us. This is fitness. Some woman responds, well, that's too big and creepy and scary. I'm going to ride a bike and pedal and chat with my friends. And that's a good thing. Why not? Some people didn't even want to do that. And let's just buy gum. Chew Velex. Doctors agree. Fat people tend to die younger. Plan, eat, and grow thin. Don't suffer humiliation and ridicule by being fat. That's what we're telling our society. I never saw that Mad Men series, but that's just what it reminds me of. Like these guys just smoking cigarettes in office and just humiliating people and loaded with ego and not understanding what human behavior really is. Don't miss dating and good times because you're fat. Try Velex. Come on. Oh, somebody did that one today, huh? Listen, I know bodybuilding is way too much. Riding a bicycle, chewing gum can, some people is like, that's tiring. The jaw gets tired, you get hungry. Don't do that. Just sleep. Overnight, you're going to lose 5 pounds. Learn the secret of TV's fantastic no pill, no exercise, one day reducing formula. Eat your fill, go to sleep, wake up, and you'll be what happened? Oh, it's over there, you go. And you'll be 5 pounds, you lose 5 pounds. Guaranteed to work. If you lose 5 pounds while you're sleeping, I hope you're sleeping alone. All right. Let's go to the 1970s here, right? So Schwarzenegger made bodybuilding pretty popular. So Weider took advantage of this. He goes, hey, you know what? I'm going to make a magazine. We're going to show bodybuilding to the world. And I have to be more tan than my models. No model could be more tan than I. So that was Joe Weider. And they go, no, we're not going to do that. We got Richard Simmons, Tony Little. Told you, Jay Lehman, I'd bring Tony Little into this one. Kathy Smith, Jane Fonda. So there's a whole response to the bodybuilding, right? So let's do some cardiovascular stuff. Some people heard Richard Simmons' voice and said, no, I got to meditate this voice out of my head. Let's start doing some yoga. Yoga became very popular in the 70s. '80s, this is a fun generation. This is the Miami Vice version of bodybuilding. I don't know, it's just these colors that they put on bodybuilders and their models and stuff like that. So, but again, it became very popular. I mean, if you think about, anybody worked out in the 80s? Anybody in the 80s working out in gyms? Raise your hand. Right? It was all the bodybuilder mentality was there. I mean, it was that or step aerobics, right? But I mean, every machine was designed for bodybuilders, by bodybuilders, and we thought that was health. That's fitness, is what these guys are. I mean, look at them, amazing. We liked it so much, we thought maybe we can go snow skiing in our Speedos after bodybuilding. And get calf implants, because I don't like to work out legs. I got to do chest, pecs and flies and biceps. I don't really want to work on calves. Let me just get calf implants. That's the 1980s. These guys probably went to a Scorpions concert, mixed Scorpions and bodybuilding together. And it got so popular that women started to fall in love with bodybuilding. So this is our society. This is how we got here. And again, no disregard or disrespect. This is what it is. I'm just saying this is how we got to where we are today. And this is part of that journey and that path. So the 1990s came along, and Pearl Jam and Nirvana said, no, grunge, we're not going to be bodybuilding anymore. We're going to kind of go back to laid back, real, just coffee drinking, rock and roll. And these guys said, hell no, baby, bodybuilding is here to stay. Women decided to go to negative 6% body fat. Forget 2%. Let's go to negative 6% body fat. It doesn't matter if it destroys our reproductive system, but let's really lose weight. Our foreheads may look a little weird from the dysphoria or this, nutritional deficiencies and stuff like that, but this became super popular, this competitions, right? And we had Billy Banks to save us with some Tybo. I don't know about his outfit, but that's what his outfit is. Then we have Y2K, still going to be bodybuilding. No, let's shake the weight. Listen, it's not just for ladies. Do it with your husbands. Look how hot they can get with a shake weight. P90X. So Tony Horton, to me, actually designed one of the best programs out there for like a mass audience. The problem with P90X is, what does it say? It's extreme home fitness. Most people were couch potatoes going into P90X. You forgot about P90. See, he designed P90 first. You should have gone through that first, and then P90X. But everybody wants the quick results. So how many people got injured on P90X? I knew lots of people. Tons. Not that it was a bad program, but they just, when it says extreme, go through the progressions to get to extreme. And in the 2010s, we have high-intensity interval training. It's the fastest way to lose fat. The best way to lose fat, you got to move high intensity. Forget about that low cardiovascular exercise. It doesn't do anything. Stop doing that. Let's do as many pull-ups as we can, as fast as we can, as hard as we can. And if you're feeling tired and nauseous, get in your mind, you could do it, pass on, and keep going. Don't stop. Let's all do Olympic lifts because we're so well trained by professionals that run these gyms. And you could do it in jeans if you want to. Don't worry about it. Heck, even if you're wearing a boot from a bad ankle, you can do it. And if you're kids, sure, try it. Your form doesn't look great, and your back's probably going to be jacked up, but go for it. It's a sport. I don't want to knock CrossFit, but I'm going to knock CrossFit a little bit. Listen, the culture has just gotten out of control. If you want to do CrossFit once or twice a week, fantastic. If you're a young athlete in your 20s, you want to do it 2 or 3 times a week, go for it. If you do it more than 3 times a week, you're actually causing a lot of detriment to your health over the long haul. But it's good to be in shape. I mean, come on, it's fun. All right. No CrossFit, let's do bar method. Do small little movements, hold on to a bar. Why not? It's not a bad thing. I did it once. And then we got Jonathan Toews, my favorite hockey player, Canadian guy, plays for the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Canadian humor, which I love to death, just spoofing on fitness, which is awesome. So let's not forget, we have diets, right? Slim Fast uses high fructose corn syrup. Water and high fructose corn syrup, some chocolate, and some fake vitamins, and will help you lose weight. There's a cabbage diet, a grapefruit diet, Atkins diet, low-carb diet, Ally, we call it a lie. If you ever read the fine small print, it tells you be careful and wear dark underwear because you'll have an orange discharge. Not my words. Not sure if it's actually paleo diet or I just want an excuse to eat steak for breakfast. So, come on, my football players, you know that. All right. So that's kind of how we got to where we are. I'm hoping to share some information that you might want to start taking a little bit of notes here that will help you to kind of identify ways to achieve optimal health. One is you have to spend time in meditation, prayer, contemplation, reflection, whatever it is, to help you understand what Kevin Guest was saying, know who you are. What type of exercise, nutrition, healthy lifestyle is congruent to your core values? Intuitively, we know. We're just so much on the surface and so much externally looking at the world for answers instead of looking internally. We need a holistic strategy. We are holistic beings. We're so dynamic. We can't just think about just exercise and diet. What's our breathing like? You change your breath, you'll change your life. Slow diaphragmatic breathing is the number one thing you can do to fight cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and dementia. How well do you rest? How are your relationships? I'm name dropping Kevin a little bit today, but Kevin said the key to everything is relationships. And we'll show you a little bit of that. We're going to practice that a little bit today. Looking at research-based information. When I look at research-based information, I will tell you right now, this last decade of telling you that low-intensity cardiovascular exercise is a waste of time because it doesn't burn fat. You're right, it doesn't burn fat unless you're fat. If you're overweight or obese, it's the number one way to initiate weight loss. It also stimulates strength in the connective tissue, your ligaments, tendons, your joints. It's amazing for stress reduction, and it's great for your heart and lungs. You don't have to do the boring cycle or jogging. I have my clients skipping sideways. Oh, I can't skip because my ankle, but I have them do all kinds of crazy stuff, you know. I have pro athletes doing that. The more three-dimensional movement you can do, but do it low-intensity cardiovascular exercise. It's super good for you. If you look at high-intensity interval training, yes, it's the best for fat loss, but understand the oxidative stress that comes along with it. So if you're doing it 5-6 days a week, you are creating too much lactic acid that you can't flush it out. So you have oxidative stress and inflammation. If you do too much cardiovascular exercise, same thing. The older we get, the less we should be doing. A little bit more yoga, a little bit less intensity. I still lift heavy, heavy weights once every 3 weeks, and I don't lose my strength. But I also do it functional. I do a holistic with the whole body movement at the same time. Understanding behavioral change is also really, really, really critical. Actually, you know what? I want to go back one because I want to talk about when it comes to research-based. Low-intensity cardiovascular exercise is one of the best things in the world. I want everybody to stand up for a second. Jay Lehman, come join me for a second. This is probably one of the best exercises in the world you can do. Ready, Craig? Let's go dance just for a second. Yeah, baby. Right, just feel it. Just feel rhythm. I can't throw my jacket off. I'm not like that, but dance. All right, thank you. Thanks, Jay. Love you, brother. I had to play that for you. So Zumba or dancing is probably one of the best exercises on the planet. I'm not a Zumba guy. I don't do Zumba, but I do love to dance. And I also wanted to talk about diet real quickly, research-based dieting. I'm going to just go with this really fast because I'm going to run out of time. I got 17 minutes. So when it comes to dieting and being truly healthy and optimal health with diet, research shows us that if you have prediabetes or cancer or heart disease or autoimmune disease, if you have any of those illnesses or really close or you're borderline, the best way to reverse it is 100% plant-based. 100% plant-based. There's tons and tons of research backing that up for years and decades. I'm not telling you to go vegan. I will never give up steak, pizza, chocolate, or whiskey. But I only have them very infrequently. I have a steak every 2 to 3 months, or any meat every 2 months. If you look at longevity studies on people who live the longest, 100 years and longer, they ate meat 1 to 3 times a month, or any animal products. If you want optimal health, you've got to start building your way towards that. I know it sounds scary. I know we've been told by paleo and by keto that you can eat bacon and sausage all day long and eggs and think you're going to be healthy. Yes, you may lose fat, but it's not a healthy way. You're creating massive inflammation in your arteries and your cells. In Norway, when World War II was going on, the Nazis took all the livestock away from the Norwegians. And cancer, diabetes, heart disease is gone. I mean, completely gone. When the war ended, they got all their animals back, right back up. The China study is the largest study in humanity ever, 500,000 people, over 30, 40-year study on nutrition. And it was the first time they really noticed that the poor people were living longer and had less disease than the rich people, because the rich people had all the animals. And when we talk about consciousness and being aware, understand every time you eat meat, an animal suffers, our environment suffers, people suffer. Watch What the Health, and if you want to dispute What the Health, because I know there's people out there trying to say it's BS, watch it and then come talk to me, and I'll dispute any claim that they say, and I'll show you all the research. I'm not telling you to become vegan, but it's great if you hunt your animals, or if you buy animals at farmers markets when you know that they're raised properly. We can change the world if we ate a lot less meat. I'm not saying stop eating meat. I told you, I'm not going to give up steak. But we can change the world. That's optimal health, mind, body, and spirit. You're helping the environment. You're helping living beings, including yourself and other people, because people are suffering with these factory farms like crazy. Motivational change behavior. Red Key. Who was here for Jordan's speech talk last night? So powerful about delayed gratification. The problem is that's a very spiritual, long, hard process for most people. The reality is human behavior is driven since the dawn of time from immediate gratification. So if you want to change behavior, you have to increase your awareness so every day and every night you reflect on days you ate healthy and exercise, how do they compare to the days I didn't? How was your relationships? How was your sex life? How's your mood? How's your work productivity? And when you can start comparing them to immediate gratification, it takes time. It takes a few weeks of really conscious every day, writing it down, being grateful, but reflecting on how was your day when you eat right or eat better and exercise compared to days you don't. And that will motivate you for life because it becomes habitual. You start to realize, oh my gosh, I didn't eat that good today and I couldn't perform. My wife's unhappy. I'm just kidding. That's why I eat healthy. I'm Latino. All right, what about happiness? They're so interconnected. The groundwork to all happiness is health. It's so hard to be happy if you're not healthy. I've met so many clients, wealthy as can be, that give up everything to get their health back. And you can see the sadness in them when they've lost their health. I love the way the Dalai Lama puts it. Happiness is the highest form of health. So it's the groundwork and the highest form. So you see how health and happiness are so intertwined? I promise you, if you're healthier, you're happier. And when you're happier, you'll become healthier. They support each other. I was in India and met the Dalai Lama, and we were at his house, and he throws nothing but jokes and jokes and jokes, and then just throws us wisdom. And he said, Sergio, Christians, Buddhists, it doesn't matter. The one thing that we know in common is that we are all created out of light and love. Because when you're honest and you're selfless and you give and you help people, there's a harmony in your soul you can't deny. When you lie, you steal, you cheat, you deceive, there's a disharmony in your soul you can't deny. So just on that alone, we're in agreement that we are created out of pure light and love. So understand that you need to know that to be truly happy. Here are the keys to optimal happiness. Perspective has got to be gratitude. Talk to Sandy, talk to Nick from last night, talk to people who've overcome. There's two choices in life, period, right? You have a choice of victim, complaining, struggling, or the choice of solution, positive, gratitude. One of the realizations I had when I was struggling through my depression and my anger is I started to meditate and go to different monasteries. I went to different monasteries all over the world, mostly in the United States, but I went to Trappist, Benedictine, Franciscan monasteries. I went to Buddhist monasteries. And what I did is, when I realized that, is that I have a choice to how I see the world. And from there, I realized I didn't grow up poor. Are you kidding me? $25,000 a year and a roof over our head and food every single meal. I did not grow up poor at all, but that's how I saw it for so long. So it's really perspective and having gratitude. Just because we live in this country or in North America or in a developed world, we should be 100% grateful. Let go of the small stuff. You got to let it go. Stop sweating the small stuff. You know when you hold on to the small stuff. And pay attention if you're not eating right and exercising those days. My kids notice that so much. The kids that are crabby, cranky, nutty, always complaining, always bitching, are the ones that eat the junkiest foods at lunch. You got to serve and help others. That's obvious. If you're not volunteering or not doing something to serve, put it in your calendar. Find a way to volunteer once a month to start, whatever it takes. And then lastly is relationships. Did I do it again? I did it again, sorry. So relationships is the key. So I'm going to close here today with a quick exercise and understanding relationships, because they're so positive and so much of how our life is impacted. When you look at relationships, we have to think about, one, faith or God and Spirit. And I don't mean it in a Christian way if you don't want to be Christian. I've met native Indians that have so much spirit and so much connection to spirit and so much relationship to their God that's beautiful. I've met all different religions and all different types of the world that never even heard of the word Jesus. And it's okay. They have the Christ energy in them. It's just defined differently or given a different terminology for it. Family, friends, and community. What is our relationships there? Are we givers or are we takers? Fill a lot more buckets than have yours filled. Don't worry about yours. Yours will be filled someday. I promise if you spend your time and energy filling buckets, it's all good stuff. You'll be a happier, healthier person. What's your relationship to nature? And are you even consciously aware of it? What you're eating and how it impacts nature? The companies and products you're buying from, do you look at that at all? We have to learn to care for this planet. We're messing up. And then relationship to self. This is probably the hardest one for a lot of people. If you don't love yourself, and it's easy not to, it's easy to find this all the reasons I suck and can't do anything right, and I've had it forever. I've been there. But let me tell you what I like about myself. I like that I'm a very creative person. What I like about myself is I'm a very loving and loyal husband. What I love about myself is that I'm a funny, crazy, engaged father. What I like about myself is that I'm artistic. What I like about myself is that I'm very non-judgmental and empathetic. What I like about myself is I never give up. I'm very I just persevere no matter what. I just keep going. What I like about myself is I can dance. What I like about myself is I'm a good-looking guy. What I like about myself is that I have a heart of gold, and I'll give up my life for just about anyone. Just by show of hands, real fast, how many people had a hard time coming up with 5? How many people had a hard time coming up with 5? Like it's quite a few people, right? It's not easy. Let's take a look at this last few quotes. I'm going to close by this. Choose to be happy because it's good for your life. Your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds. You can grow flowers, you can grow weeds. Your thoughts will lead you there, so it's your choice. Without rain, nothing grows. Learn to embrace the storms in your life. The storms are the chances to grow. We heard it from Nick yesterday. So powerful. It's a road trip. Don't take too much baggage. Let loose, have fun, be silly. It's like an elevator. Sometimes you got to drop some people off on the way out. You are the average of 5 people. Yeah. If you're hanging out with some people, sometimes you got to let go. It's like a bike ride. You got to just keep moving sometimes. Don't get stuck in analysis paralysis and assessing your life all the time. Just move. Do some things, right? I have a 7-day Vitality Kickstart program that helps you start to understand some of these concepts. If you want, it's $50 off, so it's only like $20. You can find it on my Instagram or my Facebook page at Vitality by Sergio. Love you guys so much.